Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to Transforming Lives. My name is Tony Kimball, and I'm your host tonight. I'm just talking with genuine people with real lives. And tonight, there's no short of that. Many times in education, currently, it's a new normal. I've talked about this over several months now. It's a new normal for education. And it is leaders making changes that they didn't have to make before. And they have to make these changes to think about not just themselves and their district, but a whole community. So what I've been doing lately is I've been bringing on educators that want to just genuine, just good people. And tonight is no short of that tonight. This gentleman, I know him. We actually had the opportunity to take a class together. And my first interaction with him, it was one in our conversation that, he was passionate about educating students as well as educating adults and putting adults in the right place to have an impact. So that blew me away. And to see the impact that he was having on his current community. Fast forward, he's moved from an assistant principal, assistant superintendent, and now he's in the role of a superintendent making a lot of decisions. So tonight, guys, I want to welcome just a great gentleman. And I want to welcome to the stage tonight. Give your thumbs up, give your hearts. If you're on Facebook, give your hearts. If you're on YouTube, definitely leave a comment. Or if you're on Twitter right now, definitely leave a comment as well. So definitely, I would like to welcome and bring to the screen Dr. John Mark Cain. Sir, how are you doing? Welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much for having us, and appreciate the introduction and the kind words.
Oh, absolutely, sir. Yes, sir. They're real. Absolutely. So how is it going this afternoon, this evening?
I tell you, it's been a whirlwind since March. The country's faced some severe obstacles, and public education has been at the forefront of that. And we have really been leaning on each other nationwide, and also in our state, we've got some great superintendents, and we've really just connected and trying to figure out how we're going to navigate these waters. It's unprecedented, and we've said that time and time again. It sounds cliche now, but each day we're facing decisions that we haven't had to face in the past, and make some of those tough decisions. And but like I said, without the cadre of superintendents and leadership that we've got in this state, I don't think we would have made the progress that we've made so far.
Absolutely. So that's definitely important. Definitely, those decisions are important. We're looking at now, but we understand that that's impacting children now, several years, 5 years down the line. So definitely, I commend you on the role that you're playing right now.
Thank you, sir.
So I want to start here by asking, tell us about yourself growing up. Tell us about Dr. Cain growing up.
Yeah. Humble beginnings. We started out, grew up and born in Natchez, Mississippi. Some years later, traveled with the family, young still, went to Jackson, and got to experience Head Start in Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
I got some photograph evidence to support that. And from Jackson, went and moved to Holmes County, and lived over in Lexington for a little while, and then the family moved over to Durant, and I attended K-12 there in Durant High School, and had a chance to play some ball a little bit in college. Went to Holmes, played a little baseball down there, and then got serious about the books and had a fine mentor in high school who, as we get into this, we always kind of look back and say, why did you go into education? And
Right.
it was a relationship with that, high school coach that steered me into this. And, from there went into elementary education over at Mississippi State and started a teaching career over in Kosciuszko.
Mm-hmm.
And had a administrator there that said, hey, you need to think about administration.
Mm-hmm.
And, so started looking at that and went ahead and finished that and went to Ole Miss, met a guy by the name of Tony Kimball up there. Had a class or two with him where I think I looked at his paper a few times.
Maybe the other way around, yeah.
So had a good time up there and got the specialist degree. All at the same time, working my way up through the school, the job there, education, teaching, coaching, and then have an opportunity along the way there to become an assistant middle school principal, an elementary school principal, high school principal, and then getting an opportunity to earn the PhD there at Ole Miss and becoming an assistant superintendent down in Scott County with Dr. Tony McGee. And then had a great opportunity here in Lauderdale County, and those doors have opened. And so we've been here since July of 2018 as the superintendent and enjoying every day of it.
Absolutely. So you began talking about, you walked us through the path, and it's something to go through those different roles because you understand that each is different, although each have a impact on many people. My next thing is you mentioned about influences. I want to know, who had the biggest influence on your life.
I think I could probably divide that into segments of time during my life. I was always a person who looked at the strengths of people, and I looked at individuals. For instance, growing up, I had a next door neighbor who was an extreme athlete, worked hard, and I looked at that individual, and he worked with me like an older brother, and I watched his work ethic, and I just remember learning to work hard athletically while watching this guy. And then, I had others who were musically inclined, and so I picked up music from certain individuals. Just the intellect side, I guess you could say, of the academic side was again from that high school teacher and high school coach who challenge your thinking a little bit, the status quo, and then but I think that was really always my strength. Really was I was able to look at a lot of different types of people, and I was able to draw strengths from a community of people. And a lot of different people had a lot of different influences on me. It's almost like a musician, saying all the different influences it's had on his music. And that's really the kind of way I look at life. I've had a lot of different great influences from a lot of different great people.
That I can gel with you on that one. You can't just say one. It's almost like you just can't have one. It's somebody that had an impact on your life.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
So even with all those influences that kind of guided your life, did you see yourself becoming a superintendent? Tell us about
it. No, sir. At first, I wasn't even sure about education. First day I walked on that university campus, I thought, I don't know if I belong here or not. And I was, again, a small town kid, really hadn't had a lot of conversations about college in my home. And, did the community college route, but when I stepped on that university campus, man, it was shock and all. I was way out of my league, way uncomfortable. And I remember coming home the day after the orientation and telling my high school coach, I said, "Hey, this may not be for me. I might need to do something else." And stick with it, and hang in there. And so you get in a routine, and you get through that. And man, it became, you saw the door starting to open, things started to happen. That seemed just like it was natural, it was to be. And so teaching happened, and met my wife there as well. And so marriage and then family happened real fast, and then it was just like I'm just not sure this is all it's supposed to be,
right?
And so those opportunities and doors continue to open, and and a lot of, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of weekends and hard work and sacrifice. I mean, it's you got to give up something, and I think that's the balancing act that you do, even when you're pursuing it. Once you get it, it's still trying to find that balance, and it's difficult.
Yeah, definitely stepping into those roles. You don't realize that it's a lot of responsibility hidden in these roles that are out here.
You're going to be pulled in so many directions, and there's only one of you, so you better learn to delegate really well and really fast.
Right, and that's important of understanding. I'm glad you pointed it out. Mm-hmm. That delegation is powerful when put in the right hands. So
absolutely,
definitely. So didn't see yourself being that superintendent. Now you're in the role. Could you briefly kind of talk about this transition from? I know we're gonna try to get a lot in a little short amount of time. From March to August. Tell us about that transition. Just kind of go into a little bit, in terms of being a superintendent.
Sure. I'll kind of jump back when the job here in Lauderdale County. I think it's always been revered as a great school district. Previous administration was well respected, and it was a place that people wanted to come work. And it was one of those places that, I was happy where I was, and working with some really great people. But it was one of those situations where I thought, hey, if this is the right place, then, and this is what, the Lord wants me to do, then we're going to step through that door.
Gotcha.
And when we, started the process, it just felt right. And as things progressed, it just said, I think this is going to be it. And so coming on board, I was the first appointed superintendent here, and so we were leaving the election, and so that's a complete different experience in itself, not only for the community but for the board as well. When you're now done with an appointment, their first hire, as a board, and so superintendency is a little different from I would say. I think if you ask most, if they were from an elected to an appointed position, it carries a little different magnitude as far as the abilities to get things done, the agency that you're having to be responsible for, who you're answering to, for the most part, how you do that. But I think we've adjusted well. When we first came in, it was really listen, feel, and ask a lot of questions, and learn as much as you can, as quickly as you can. The first 6 months is very demanding. You're going to have everyone really wanting to try to talk to you, get to know who you are, and you're trying to get your message out there and your vision as well. But also at the same time, appreciate what has made your district what it is, especially if you're coming into a good school district.
Right.
Lauderdale County is a good to great school district.
Mm-hmm.
Coming into those situations, you definitely want to honor the past,
Right.
acknowledge that, but then you also kind of look into the, down the road. What do you want to do? You got a fresh set of eyes, for the first time in some time, and so you do that, and you figure out, you got to put your team together too. Figure out your people and strengths and where you can see them best helping you out. And then again, it's about I think too many people try to change things too fast without people really knowing where your heart is. And, as they say, they got to believe in you before they believe in what you're selling.
Right.
And that's going to happen faster with some than others. Attrition's a part of the business as well. But at the end of the day, if you got people who are on your side and willing to go with you, you carry them along for the ride and you lift them up along the way, and you try to grow more leaders along the way. And I think that's the key to it, is building people up as you go.
That's powerful, because when you were talking, I'm thinking about an NFL team. I shouldn't be thinking about an NFL team, but I'm thinking about an NFL team on how you build that organization. Definitely, you have to look at things differently, because that seat that you're sitting in is definitely the roles and the responsibility is different. So,
sure.
What does transformation look like in the field of education?
I think it really depends on what you're walking into. I was blessed, again, to talk about Lauderdale County. It was one of those that I saw as that one that I would be interested in,
right?
Because it had such a rich tradition of academics and athletics, and it was a 4 high school district, which was something I was familiar with being in Scott County. So the transformation part, I would think that I was probably less of a transformation if I'm looking at it through my own lens. I think what we've been able to accomplish is, kind of look at where we were, look at processes that were in place, try to improve that, increase some efficiencies in some places that we could, and then really try to look, 3 and 5 years out of where we want to go.
Right.
And early on, we did a strategic plan, and we brought all of our community and stakeholders. We had over 2,000 people input in that plan. Brought people from all walks to the table, and we put together a strategic plan for the district for the next 5 years. And so versus being a transformational leader, I think I was maybe more of a bridge builder, to say, hey, this is where we are, and this is really where we all want to go. Let's get there together. And some may call that transformational, but some may just be saying, hey, it's visionary too, that, hey, we've got the picture here. Let's get there.
Absolutely. 2 of our professors came to mind. I won't bring their names up, but came to mind when I thought about what you just said. So,
Yes.
What are, the listeners are on, and this can be applied to, we're talking about the arena of education. And, I want to look at two keys to transforming either a school or a district? What are the keys?
For me, it's real easy. I try to keep that KISS philosophy,
Right.
And for me, it's real simple. One is you hire the very best people you can.
Mm-hmm.
Two is you agree on a common goal.
Mm-hmm.
And three is you provide every avenue you can to make it a reality.
Mm.
That's it. I mean, if you hire really good people, I mean, I when I'm hiring people, I love to hire people smarter than I am. That's I'm trying to make my job easier.
Right.
If I can hire those people that are passionate and I believe in their heart what they're trying to do,
Mm-hmm.
and they're smart and they're intelligent and they're hungry for helping kids and knowing what it's going to take, and let's sit down together and say, hey, this is what we want to do,
Right.
and then you just empower them to do it. And if you can do that, man, people love it, and you don't have to push anybody,
Right.
they're pulling you along.
Right. Right. And that's important because you're building while you're leading, and that's and I've heard that theme throughout our conversation tonight.
Yeah.
That's important.
And let me say that within that, we're constantly building capacity. We're bringing in the best people we can
Mm-hmm.
to make our best even better. Steel sharpens steel, and
Mm-hmm.
so when we bring in the very best we can to provide the knowledge that our admins feel like they need, and then based on needs survey what our teachers say they need. And then from the very top, having that vision too of where do you see those spots that we can improve on, looking at data, looking at information, and feeling the pulse of your school and your district. You get a general idea of where you may be lacking, and knowing that if you're trying to go from A to C, you got to cross B, and sometimes you may need some help to get there.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I'm liking this conversation is good. Yeah. So, I know there are educators that are listening, and they are, going to come back and look at this, or even someone that's pursuing their dream. What can you say to encourage them to go on after that dream?
Small town kid, middle class family, education is the great equalizer. And I know it's been said time and time again, but I could have definitely ended up doing something else, or been with some other people in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
But I just say for those that have a dream, you can't, the naysayers are going to be there,
Right.
as they say, the haters are going to hate. And, but as long as you know what your strengths are and what your passion is, you'll never work a day in your life. And if you keep pursuing that, what your true passions are, I mean, it's just like you're called to do it. Nothing's going to be able to stop you. Nobody, the situation, because you're going to fight through it and to get there. And I just, we're just so blessed to have a system that allows us to go from certain situations in life to being whatever we want to be, as long as we keep pursuing.
Right. There's a gentleman that I consider to be a mentor. He passed in October, but he used to, when I talked to him, he would always use that term. What system do you have in place? Not just what person, what system do you have in place to help you move? He said every time I come with what system do you have in place? Okay. Yeah. So it's good to hear you.
System.
That's what it is. It's all about setting up those systems. So,
yes.
You know, I've asked you several questions, but what's one thing I didn't ask that you would like to share tonight?
Oh man. Um, I think it's never really forgetting where you came from,
Mm-hmm.
and I never really have. I think you probably could hear that in what I've told you
Right.
throughout this time. But you never get anywhere by yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and you're always going to have those people along the way that say the things that get you to that next step, or to keep you going, or to give you those words of encouragement when you're down, to be there with you in tough situations, because along the way life's going to hit you,
Right.
and it's going sometimes it's going to hit you hard.
Yeah.
And but I think it's really important to always remember where you came from, and cherish those individuals who were with you during times when everybody's smiling and it's all good, but really remember those who were with you when the times weren't so good. You may lose touch with them, and you may not talk to them daily, but you never forget the impact that those individuals had on your life, and where you got to. So it really comes back to gratitude, and being thankful along the way. And if you'll pick up the phone and call some of those people sometimes. I did this about 6 months ago.
Right.
I called someone, and it made their day that I picked up the phone and had thought about them, and I just told them, I just want to say thank you for what you did for me when and there and then, and it was, and man, if you're having a bad day, if you do that, I promise you, your perception on things changes.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can hear that coach. I meant to say that a little while ago. I can hear the coach in you already.
Yeah, we still doing a little bit of that.
Right. I was like, look, are we like, okay, we're going to work tomorrow. So
yeah, a little bit of that in there.
All right. I'm like, I'm pumped up to go to work tomorrow. Right. So we're down to our 2-minute blitz. If you can do anything to improve education in rural America, what would you do?
Rural America?
Mm-hmm.
And we've just got to create opportunities for equity across the board. And there's some simple things we can do, and then there's some tough things we got to do. We got to attract the best and the brightest. And if we see, everybody wants to compare us to all these countries around the world, but there's a distinct difference between how we treat our educators here and how other nations that are touted around the world treat their educators. So we got to start there. It can't just be talking points during the election year. It has to be something that I think we have to be committed to go on and our teachers have to make a living without trying to think about 2 or 3 different jobs. And so again, that's what I'm saying. I think we got to do that financially. We got to make it a profession that we attract the best and the brightest. And then we got to continue to provide equity at every level. We failed to do that. We failed to see what our return on investment is in K-12 and what that looks like. So we just got to put our money where our mouth is, I guess, and again, and just make it a priority and not just a talking point. When people need to set the ballots.
Absolutely. 3 words you want to leave the viewers with.
again, it's cliche, but they come to mind. It's just, rigor, relevance, and relationships. You have to expect the most from your students. Have high expectations, no matter who they are, no matter what situation they're coming to you from, no matter what they look like when they come in the door. Have that rigor, have those high expectations for all. And let's start making school something that kids enjoy. Where they see the connection between where they are and where they want to go in life, and that's the relevance piece of it. And then again, we're all here probably because of a relationship that we had with the educator, coach along the way, and that person. So, and Tony, I know this is your area, but as we talk about distant learning and we talk about virtual learning, we can't forget the relationship piece that people to people and face to face are able to have on a different level at the school setting, and how important that is really. And I worry about right now with this situation that we're in, that a lot of students are not being able to experience that.
Right.
And where does that lead us, and what will be the ramifications of that for this group of kids in the next few years?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's, for them, although they're in their homes, it's still this making them feel comfortable of being on. And it's whether that's children or teachers. I think it's important to develop that relationship, that rapport. I think that's definitely important. And once that rapport is developed, some of the other things you don't necessarily have to try to reinforce. It begins to happen.
Hey, they'll run through a wall for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's they know you got them, and then they got you. So
right.
That's what it's about.
Absolutely. So I thank you, Dr. Cain. You have the floor. Anything that you would like to say, give you this opportunity to do so.
But Tom, I want to just thank you for the opportunity, man. And it's amazing what education, what the circles that you run into. Here we are a few years ago at a class, struggling to make sure we had our homework done, and here we are a few years later, having this forum to talk about education and where we are and where we're headed, man. So I just commend you and thank you for the opportunity. And as always, if I can ever help you, let me know.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. You can find John Marks on Twitter. Your handle, I know we follow each other.
Yes, John Mark 2015 or something like that.
Definitely.
It's on there. Just
definitely joy to have you on. Much success for the rest of this school year, and I commend you on the decisions that you're making for the children for Lauderdale County. So thank you very much, sir. And that ends us for tonight. You all have a great night, and we will see you next week.